and small, devoured lost souls with gaping maws. Legends hint they lurk among us this hour. Just take a look within the Austerian Grimoire.
Ah, you have arrived. I hope the journey here wasn't too troublesome. The last party never showed up, but you needn't worry about that. Take a seat, and allow me to introduce myself properly. Good evening, young souls, and welcome to my library of the supernatural and macabre. My name is Dr. Corvus Munin. My associate and I have gathered many a haunting tale and recounting of supernatural folklore, both of the local and abroad varieties. Speaking of which, you may submit your own to be added to the collection. Simply contact me at any of the options provided below. Alright, enough chitter-chatter. I know why you have all come tonight. So now, without further ado, let us begin.
Have you ever felt uneasy, only to find out that someone was watching you unawares? Have you ever had the same feeling when no one else was around? Was there a difference in this feeling? The human body is equipped with many sensory organs, some of which science has yet to explain. So, what is it that our bodies are picking up on when we are all alone? Electrical currents, cell phone signals, Wi-Fi surges, or something else? My story falls under that last category. I don't know how else to explain what went on those 10.5 long years. My family and I lived in an old house off of Pyle Drive, a place that no longer exists today. From my early childhood into my early teens, we had moved there from a trailer after getting a great deal on the payment plan. Thinking back on it now, I do wonder if we had gotten such a great deal due to what we found out had happened there. For the first 3 years, everything was great at our new home. We settled into the neighborhood quite nicely. We had kind neighbors on both sides. We even had a group of neighborhood kids my age that would come over and play with me on my swing set and in my sandbox. In the second year, when I had turned 3, I got a puppy, and later that year, a little brother. Everything honestly seemed perfect. Like most things in this life, that peace didn't last forever. At the beginning of the 4th year, I started to pick up on some sort of pressure. Something about the house felt heavy and active, like something was lurking just out of sight, but it also felt electrical. My room was on the 2nd floor and was parallel to the attic, the door to which was located on the wall adjacent to my bedroom door. There was a small hallway outside of my room that led to the stairs in my dad's office. I would play in my room often, but I never quite felt safe in there. Even when others were with me, I felt that same unwavering pressure. At night, the pressure would get far worse. I could sometimes feel a presence accompanying that sensation. I could feel it standing in the far corner of my room by the dresser mirror, facing away from me. Nothing went beyond this for a few years. It was when I started to try to protect myself that things got worse. I began to create imaginary ghost friends that would fight off this presence. They were composed of pure light and could unfold into blanket-like walls. I would imagine them holding it in place or covering it up with their folds. I think this angered whatever it was, or caused it to become more aware of my presence, because physical manifestations began to appear throughout the house. The uneasy feeling also grew tenfold. The first of the apparitions was a shadow that would move along the wall downstairs in the living room. It once appeared while my mother was there, and reached for the lamp near the side table. As soon as it had touched the lamp, it went out. Both of us got spooked, and I slept downstairs that night. Not too long after, my dad and I were sitting in the hall playing with action figures. and a pale young man with unkempt black hair, dressed in all white, walked past us and into the kitchen. We both ran after him, but he had completely vanished without a trace. The back door and front door were still locked by the deadbolt and a chain. After that, the presence in my room began to become visible, but not with my eyes. It was almost as if I could sense it, or it was projecting its form to me. It had also moved away from the mirror and had moved to a blank spot right across from my bed by my toy box. I would often hear my toys making noise by themselves, and would wake up to sense or see the being standing there facing away from me. I would stare at it for hours, bracing myself for when it would turn around and look at me. But I would fall asleep every time before it did, and would often wake up feeling violated. By the time I was 10, the disturbances had extended to my dreams. I would often dream about zombies opening up the side attic and chasing me down the hall into my father's office. I would also hear things moving under my bed, and would wake up to someone whispering my name in a raspy, feminine voice. Every time, that thing would be somewhere in my room, facing away from me. The sound of gunshots coming from my attic also started occurring during the night, and during the day on rare occasions. My dad would check it out, and would find various dead animals, mostly mice. At age 11, everything changed, for the worse. I saw the being with my own eyes. It was there at the foot of my bed, still facing away. Its shadow was cast on the entrance to the attic, the light from the window behind the head of my bed illuminating the thing's purple skin. It was slick, and appeared almost slimy, but reflective like metal. I could see the outline of muscles and sinew through the protective layer. The body was absolutely massive and hulking. Its head was tall and thin, and it had no discernible neck. 2 black eyes, similar to an ant's, protruded from the sides of its head, from sunken eye sockets. The head didn't seem to fit the body. It was as if something had stretched the skin over something larger, and the eyes had forced their way out of the mask, like leakage from an overstuffed sausage link. Even though it was facing away from me, I knew, somehow, that thing could see me. I froze as my hair stood on end, and a jolt of terror shot throughout my body like a lightning bolt. I laid there paralyzed and shaking for what felt like an hour. Then, slowly, the thing turned around. My heart burned with anxiety and fear. I could hear and feel my heart pounding in my chest. The thing's face was wrinkled and dimpled. Large indentions covered most of it. It had no mouth, but a long dimple just below the nose that resembled a cocky grin. The nose, or whatever that thing was long and pointed and curved downward toward me. The thing stared me in the eyes as it slowly descended upon me, pinning down my right leg with an incredible weight. Its body was cold and smooth. The texture reminded me a lot of a granite countertop. I started punching and kicking it, but it had no effect. It covered my mouth with its smooth, giant hand so I couldn't scream. It made a perfect vacuum seal somehow. I couldn't get away. I couldn't ask for help. The being climbed up my torso, slowly, steadily, until its face was just mere inches from mine. The nose elongated toward my face and opened like the mouth of a leech or some other type of carnivorous worm. That was when it attacked me. This went on at random times for the next 2.5 years. The creature even followed me into my dreams, becoming misshapen animals with shrunken heads, sporting those same haunting, elongated black eyes. I always felt as if they were trying to infect me. I never spoke about any of this to my parents. I felt that doing so would cause something very bad to happen to them. I held strong to thoughts of loving someone someday. It may sound cliche, but that is what kept me sane, as I dealt with the being's repeated attacks and violations. After those 2 years were through, the airport moved us away from that place due to expansion. As soon as we had moved, the pressure vanished completely. The new house felt calm and peaceful. No energies or static or presences. It was only after we had moved away that we discovered that someone had been shot and killed in my very room, and the body had been hidden in the side attic. The dreams of zombies in the attic that I so often had became all the more chilling at that thought. I wondered if the being would have tried to convince me to do the same, if I had given in to it, or told someone about what it had been doing to me. I'm not sure what that thing was, but I know, deep down, that I was lucky to have escaped it.
I do hope you enjoyed our true tale of terror this evening. Again, if you would like to submit your own tale and have your nightmares brought to life, you can reach out to us with the information provided in the description and pinned comment of this video. Come back and visit anytime. If you would like to purchase prints of this week's creature, please see the merch shelf provided below this video, or click the link in the description. All proceeds go to the very talented artist herself, Austere, furthering this series and many more projects to come.
If you like this week's monster, don't forget to buy our limited edition prints and merch. Let's make this stupid demon pay for what it did to me. Literally. Also, make sure to check out Austere's children's book on Amazon called Twinkie The Llama. This book is beautifully illustrated and teaches some very important life lessons. Also, make sure to check out Austere's Buy Me a Coffee page to further support. You can do this directly at buymeacoffee.com/Austere. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Now I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my patrons and channel members. Thanks to you, I'm able to do what I love. CNK114, Investigator Zeus, Dobby's Music, Jera Mullins, Free Spirit Katie, MC Darfer, Vexus, Agnieszka, Granny Monster, Nightmare Luna, Practical Necromancy, and Archer. Really, thank you so much for everything you do. It means the world to me.